Alright, everybody. We're gonna do something a little different. I was sent this video of this police shooting. They wanted me to break it down with my background and everything. So we'll let it play. Okay. Now, this is what the police knew when they arrived on scene. Okay, this is the only stuff they knew when they arrived. They had a call for a suspicious vehicle. It was unlicensed. I guess it didn't have a plate on it. And it was damaged, as you can see here. There's some scrapes, whatnot. But I want you to see if I can get it to stop. Okay, you get this officer standing behind this car. Do you think he's afraid? If I was afraid of the car, I personally wouldn't be standing behind it. But we'll let it play more. Okay, one thing. You never use your gun to break a window. Does it work? Yes. Is it smart? No. You can get a piece of glass in the barrel. You can get a piece of glass jammed in your slide. When you need that gun, it's not going to work because you chose to bust a window out with it. There's plenty of other things they could use to bust a window. Personally, I don't understand why he tried the door and his first go-to was to bust a window. These kids were supposedly sleeping inside. I'm saying it was drug related. They probably got some kind of drugs. Probably passed out. You get two occupants in this vehicle. One's 17 years old. As he breaks the window, the car goes in reverse. Hits the police car behind him. No big deal. Hit and run. "15 rounds between the two officers was fired into this car. Now, okay, do we see all these houses? This is obviously in a housing complex. They are basically mag dumping rounds, not knowing the backdrop of where these rounds are going. What happened if Susie was outside playing in the yard? What happened if Johnny was in the living room and when these bullets struck them. Do you think they'll be held accountable? No. I'm not here to hate on police. There are a lot of good officers out there. There also is a lot of officers. The first thing that comes to their mind basically is shoot. And it's not 1, 2, 3 rounds. It's a mag dump. 15, 17 rounds. Now all these rounds are flying in this neighborhood. How many do you think one of these houses got hit? I guarantee a lot of these bullets probably might hit a couple of houses. Okay, this is not an officer. Standing behind the car. Obviously not scared. 2 occupants. He's nowhere in danger. No officer safety. Look at this. Mag dumps. Not knowing the backdrop. If you see police outside, don't be standing by the window. See the video. Okay, Sim driving to the scene. Now, we just pumped 15 rounds into this car. And obviously it came to a stop for a reason. Now, this officer, right up beside the car, he's not scared. You know, there's no safety issue. I think he, look at, he's trying to boss. And he's trying to tell him, I'm getting the passenger out. Look at this. He's not afraid. Yeah, yell at him again. Come on, do it again. Keep on yelling, he might listen to you. Now this officer right here has a clear line of sight into the car. He can obviously see the driver's slumped over. But cops nowadays are so scared, most cops nowadays are so scared to approach a scene like this. Oh, we gotta go get the shield. We need SWAT. You know, dude, you're a cop. You picked this as a profession. It's like a doctor. I hold doctors to a higher standard because they are trained to be a doctor. You don't want me being your doctor because I don't know nothing, as I do with cops. I hold them to a higher standard because they are trained to be in this profession. Now you hear all the cops speeding, putting the public in danger. Okay. Now this is the first they've heard of a gun. Neither one of these officers mentioned a gun. You just look at that. We need a shield. Bring the shield. Come on, I'm scared. Bring the shield. Now this cop's funny. He sneaks up, kind of peeks in the window, like, you know, that little piece of metal is gonna save him. Well, listen here, boy. You didn't show me your hands. I'm gonna make you show me your hands. Put your hands up. Put them up. Okay, this gun was not mentioned by either officer before the car backed up, hit the police car, took off, and decided to put 15 rounds. Who knows where they're going? You know, the rounds are. Two of the rounds hit the suspect. Where did the 13 go? It's just sad if us, as a citizen, would unload 15 rounds. We would be responsible for every one of them rounds and where they went. If it hits somebody, we're getting charged. Now the cop saying his statement was he was trying to get the occupant's attention when he walked up to the car, he knocked on the window. Okay, standard procedure right there. Somebody's passed out in the car, first thing you do, you walk up, knock on the window, try to get him awake. You know, find out if he's maybe having a medical condition, drug OD. I mean, that's standard procedure right there. Now, when he pulled the gun out when I first watched the video, he pulled the gun out. I thought he shot through the window. No, he just used the barrel of the gun to break the window. Now, I'm not advocating for this kid that's done this. It's sad he had to die, but he was a criminal. He stole a car. I guess his background is pretty lengthy too. But the cops did not know this when they arrived on scene. It's a totality of circumstances. You can only act on what you know when you're pulling up to a scene. The call was suspicious vehicle, 2 occupants inside, looked like they're sleeping. It was from the houses. I'm guessing it's probably from the house that the video came from. The person was inside videoing. So, as they approached the car, you see somebody slumped over, and his first instinct was to bust a window. I kind of get that. Maybe he was ODing, Narcan, save a life. But you gotta look on it from the other hand. If you're in a car sleeping, and when he knocked on the window, this kid obviously looked up and then put his head back down again. So he was semi-conscious. You want to say? He was able to drive away. But if you wake up to somebody knocking on your window and breaking your window out with a gun, what's going to be your first reaction? Get out of there. It's a split-second decision. You can look at the video now, but he had a second, 2 seconds to react to somebody, busting the window with a gun. He probably thought it was the car owner, coming to get their car back. Anyhow, they later determined this car was stolen. They did not know that at the time of the call. They found a handgun in the car. They did not speak about that. Neither officer communicated about it. Hey, he has a gun. Gun, 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 gun. Usually you use gun, 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 drop it. Gun. Usually that's what you scream. You want all officers to know around you that this person has a gun. And, it could go bad. Now, in the statement, he said when he looked in the window, let me get his correct, okay. When he walked up to the car, he saw his hand on the gear shifter, and this kid was holding the gun at the same time. Now, it's a split second, he didn't have long to look in there, especially he busted the window with broken glass. It's hard to see through broken glass. If he did see the gun, if he didn't see the gun, it was not communicated this person had a gun. Even if the car wrecked, another officer was walking up, the other officer didn't say, hey, he has a gun, he has a gun, he has a gun. It wasn't until the passenger got out of the car, which I'm surprised the passenger even survived. And he informed them that he may have a gun. They used the gun in the stolen vehicle, which none of that was known at the time, to justify this shooting. I'm not sticking up for the criminal that stole the car. He was a minor, possession of a gun. Obviously, probably wasn't the first time he's done stuff like this. But these officers need to be held accountable for when something goes wrong. How many times do you hear in the news a day of shootings? I'm not talking about the shootings BLM, like King Floyd, you know. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That's it. If these cops aren't held accountable, what's going to stop them from maybe possibly doing this to you? All it takes is you get pulled over, you're holding the phone or something black, cop thinks it's a gun, opens fire on you, kills you. Oh, I thought it was a gun. I didn't know it was a cell phone. I know their job's hard, but this immunity they have with stuff like this, I think this is a bad shoot. There was no officer safety problems at all. The car backed up, hit the police car, took off. They did not know the car was stolen at the time. They did not know there was a gun in there. That was all after the fact. They got to act on what they know when they're answering the call, when they're going to the call. Now, because of what they found after the shooting was ruled justified, DA ain't gonna charge them. The police force, most of the police force in the United States has become so corrupt. They do whatever they want because they know they have immunity, that if they do get sued, it doesn't hurt them one bit. That money comes from the taxpayers. The taxpayers pay the lawsuits brought against the department. It doesn't impact the officer at all. There needs to be some changing in policing in the United States. There needs to be accountability. Fortunately, you do make mistakes, but you make a mistake with a gun, it's a whole different outcome than if you hit your finger with a hammer. It's deadly. Could be deadly. But I just wanted to do a quick breakdown. Somebody sent me this video a while ago. I've just been sitting on it. They asked me what my thoughts are on it. I don't think it was a good shoot. I think it was an unsafe shoot. If there was only 3-4 rounds, okay. Knowing what they knew, I still don't think it's a good shoot. But they pretty much mag dumped in a residential neighborhood, not knowing the backdrop and where them bullets are going. If one of them bullets would have killed a kid, or even another innocent adult, just happened to be outside, there would be no accountability. I think they need to be held to a higher standard. If us citizens can get in trouble for doing something like that, the cops need to be held to a higher standard because they are trained. This is their profession. Just like you can sue a doctor for malpractice, this is their profession. This is what they chose as a profession. They are trained. They go to school for this. And it seems nowadays there's no de-escalation. It's always shoot, and that's it. We're gun immunity. Nothing's gonna happen to us. I've seen a couple officers getting charged in court for manslaughter here. 2 officers for a bad shoot. If you're gonna go out and do a police job, you gotta know what you're getting into. Back in the 80s and 90s, you really didn't hear about stuff like this. At least not as much as you hear about it now. Cops are just too gun happy nowadays. There's no de-escalation. It's either do what I say, or I'm going to pull my gun. And if you don't do what I say, I'm going to shoot you. And there's nothing you can do about it. I'm not ripping on all cops. I've met a lot of good officers that really care about their job, that would bend over backwards to help somebody. But unfortunately, it's the few officers that do choose to make bad choices. Them are the ones we hear about. You don't hear the good stories very often. It's always the bad stories. But I think they just need to think before you shoot. Us as a citizen, that's what we're taught. Do not point your gun at something you're not willing to shoot. I understand there's times in police work it is necessary to do that. But pulling your gun and emptying your magazine into a moving vehicle is just uncalled for. I'm just going to leave it at that. I know some of you ain't gonna agree on this. I'm probably gonna get hate comments in the comment section. I'm not sticking up for the kid. He was a criminal. But they gotta act on what they know at the time they're answering the call. Not what they find out after. What they know when they're going to a call. And the call was suspicious vehicle, no plates, occupants sleeping inside. That's all it was. They did not find this other stuff out till after the fact this happened. So leave your hate comments in the comment section. If you agree, if you don't agree, bad shoot in my book. Didn't care about public safety at all. It was just, look, I got to shoot my gun. You know, 15 rounds between two of us. That one officer only looked like he only fired three or four. Other guy just trigger happy. But there may be some changes in this police in the United States. Unfortunately, it's making the whole police as a whole look bad. And have you seen in the past years, the crime on police has skyrocketed. I commend these people for being out there every day, for doing what they do, for the guys that love their job, that would do anything for a job, that would take a bullet, maybe for their partner, for a citizen. But a lot of these cops won't do that. If there's a person with a gun, they're running. They're finding cover. Who cares who's out in the open? And it's not that they need more training. They need to learn to use the training they are provided. Thanks a lot.